I saw a tweet that was so dumb or so sad, it depends on how you look at it, that it caused me to revive this channel because I've been procrastinating this for a while. Seemed like a good point to come in. But essentially, someone wrote a tweet, we need statistic classes so badly. So let's take a look at the examples, because what could possibly have gotten me so worked up that I needed to make a video? So before we get into it, there's a concept of net worth, there's the concept of income, and then there's medians and averages. So if you don't know the exact definition of these, you are half okay. So probably in school, you should have learned what the difference between an average and a median is. Typically, this is done around 6th grade. Some people do it earlier if they are in like some accelerated program. So you have no excuse on that. But if you don't know what net worth is or what income is, I feel like that's okay because they don't actually teach that in school. Well, it's not okay. You need to know it in life, but it's okay if you didn't know it yet. So we'll get into some of the misconceptions that people have. So household median net worth in 2019 was $97,300. So essentially what someone's worth is, like, you know how you look up Bill Gates' net worth? It's some like crazy number. That number for the median in the US was approximately $97,300. Of course, different studies have different methods, so if you look it up, some might be higher, some might be lower, but all the numbers I found there are around the 100K mark. So then this dude responds, how much debt does each household carry, do you think? So approximately it would be $97,300 less than the assets they own. A bit of a snarky response. I don't think he should have been that brutal to this guy. But we all know what this guy would have been following up by the way he was phrasing his question. So, in case you guys didn't know, net worth is assets minus your liabilities. Now you might be asking, like, what is an asset? Because that's not like a common word, I would say. Assets are pretty much just anything you own that have value. For example, the phone, tablet, PC, or TV that you're viewing this video on, that could be considered an asset if you own it. Another example is the rice and beans you have in your pantry. That is also an asset. It might not be one that is worth a lot, but it is still something that you own that has value. Typically, what people use more often in their net worth calculations under assets is stuff like houses. If you own a house, that would be considered one of your largest assets. So now we go on to the next question. What are liabilities? Liabilities are pretty much just something you own. Typically, it's in the form of cash. So in this very small example, in this little bubble, if you buy a house for $1 million and you put $200,000 down in the down payment, and then you take out an $800,000 mortgage or loan, what would your net worth be if the house is worth $1 million? Well, your net worth would still be $200,000 because you have the house that's worth $1 million, but then you have to get rid of the liabilities, which was the $800,000, leaving you with the $200,000 left in housing equity. So, all right, no big offenses so far. Let's go on to the next example. Redo this math and remove the top 50 richest Americans. The original poster redoes the math, and it comes out to $97,299.99, which of course is a snarky remark if you guys know what a median is. We then get another response, nice, so you don't know what you're talking about, confirmed. So now we get into the interesting territory, which I don't know whether to laugh or feel sorry about. Originally when I read it, I was laughing, but once I told my friend about it, he was like, dude, I feel bad because, damn, he just doesn't know, and he's gonna carry on like that. Something failed him, right? Either he failed him or the system failed him. That is a topic for another day. So whenever you look at figures such as net worth, net income, all those things that deal with wealth of the general population and trying to get some sort of average, you don't actually use the average in a lot of cases. You use what's called the median. Why, do you ask? Well, it's to solve this exact problem we're seeing here. If we look at this article on CNBC right here, you can see immediately that the median net worth at every age group is much lower than the average. Now you might be thinking, why is this? Well, the problem is exactly because of all the top 50 richest Americans. We've all seen those graphics with people, sometimes they use grains of rice, each representing $1 million, of how much richer Jeff Bezos is and Elon Musk is compared to even someone with $10 billion. And it's like astronomical what the difference is. So that is the reason why we use median instead of averages. It's literally to solve the exact problem Bagel Czar is kind of proposing. So literally, if you do remove the top 50 richest Americans, the median would still be the same. Now, let's go over what a median is. A median is the middle number of a set of numbers. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the median would be 3. Now, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, a billion, guess what the median would be? It would still be 3. So now you have to extrapolate this into a larger US population, which has around like 100 million households, a little more than that. If you take out the top 50 households, you can imagine that the middle number, the middle data point of what net worth is, it wouldn't really change that much, because 50 households compared to like 100 million plus of them, it's not going to move the needle that much. So that's why it probably wouldn't even go down a penny as illustrated in this example, but it just goes to show how out of touch some people are with a lot of financial topics. And it's fine to be that way. Like, I'm not well versed in art, so if I talked about art a lot, I would look like a fool too. The only difference is I don't talk about art. So what I find issue with is people being very active in these discussions when they literally have no idea what they're talking about. And what's worse is that they don't have like the drive to learn about it. Because if you look at the comments on those threads, he just doesn't admit he is wrong. And that is probably not a good thing. So on to the next reply. Yeah, because there's a few million who are multimillionaires and the rest barely have $100 in their checking account. So again, that is not how medians work. And if there was a few million who are multimillionaires and the rest barely have $100 in their checking, then the median household net worth would be around a little less than $100, which again is true. Because if there are, let's say, 4 people, if 4 people in a population set have $1 million, and then the rest have anywhere from 0 to 100, the median household net worth would indeed be less than $100. So this guy ends this with, is this the kind of conversations you have with the kids? Okay, maybe I shouldn't read that one. Maybe he thinks the guy looks like that type of stuff, but that is completely irrelevant to the topic, but it did add some humor to my day. But again, another person just doesn't know what median is, but median was taught in school, so I find that there's no excuse in that. Now on to the next one. Some dude responded with an image of $68,703, and then it shows right beneath it, average income in 2019. And then you see the median household income was, and then it gets cut off. So approximately, from the data I checked, that was the median household income in that year, according to one data set. So he's not wrong in the sense that he is listing out a fact. It's just not one that is comparable to this current conversation. What he's really trying to say is, hey, look, dude, that number that you listed, it wasn't that high. This is where the number should be. It's a lot lower. So that means like things are not doing as well. But of course, that is the equivalent of saying like, here's a Mona Lisa, and then this dude pulls out like an NFT or something like that. I guess you can't pull it out of thin air, but they're just two things that are completely different. They are related. For example, a Mona Lisa and an NFT, they're both like forms of art, I guess, depending on who you ask, but generally that is what they are considered. But household median net worth and household median average income, again, they are related, but they aren't depicting the same figures. And this is where I can excuse some people on not knowing what the difference is, because this literally isn't taught in school. So I think like these specific concepts are actually taught in like finance courses in college, unless you had some accelerated program or like a special study program in high school, for example. But let's take a look at what the difference between what net worth is and income. So we already went over net worth. So income is typically everything you make during the year. So a salary would be a form of income. So how does income and net worth relate? Well, every year you can add to your net worth. Net worth is more like a snapshot of what's going on. It's like, this is how much assets and liabilities this guy has at this current point in time. What income is saying is that's how much this person made over the course of a year or whatever time period you are using. So let's say we started from 0, like you just started working, you're out on your own, and you're starting at 0, let's say. If you're making what the median income is, which is $68,703, let's say you have to pay for your rent, you have to pay for food, you have to pay for all the expenses in life. You're left with, let's say, $1,000 in savings every single year. Well, that $1,000 could be added to your net worth at the end of the year. So you started from 0. After the first year, you are now at 1,000. After 10 years, you'll be at 10,000. And that is pretty much a very simplified explanation of the relationship between these two things. Now you may be wondering, like, wow, that $97,000 figure for the median net worth of the country does sound pretty high, but you have to look at it from a different lens. So if you think about it, net worth is something that goes up as you get older. I imagine a lot of the people on Twitter are not very old, so they would not have had time to develop such a large net worth. Because again, if you start at the beginning, you're starting from zero or negative if you have a lot of debt. Therefore, that number may seem astronomical, but it really isn't, because if you compare it to someone who is like 85, for example, he's had 65 more years of income to add to his net worth compared to someone who just started working at the age of 20 or 21. Next thing you need to keep in mind is that it says household and not individual. Households can be multiple people. It could still be one person, but oftentimes in the US, it is more than one person. We have a population of approximately 300 million and change, but the amount of households is a little more than 100 million. So clearly there is a difference between the two, and that is why, again, if you're just one person and you're like, wow, that number seems so unattainable, those are the two reasons why it may seem like that. If you get married, you double that number if the other person has saved as much as you, and then as you get older, the number gets easier and easier to obtain because the passage of time happens. But that is pretty much it on what I found today. Again, it was just a really weird thing. Like, I felt, I was laughing at first, but then like I told my friend about it and he was like, damn, I actually feel really sad. And then I felt sad after that too. So hopefully after this, more people are well informed, because it is fine to not know about these things beforehand. Actually, on the median stuff, you should know it, but if you forgot, you should remember it when you're talking about data sets, I guess. That is going to be it from me today. If you guys enjoyed this, we could take a look at other data sets where I analyze the compatibility on dating apps. I'll leave a card at the end for that. But if you guys did enjoy these videos, go ahead and hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new, and I hope to see you guys later.